Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S66038, Francine the Superstar, Chapter 1. Class, I have some important news. Mr. Rappan announced one morning. His third graders all looked up. Maybe he's canceling homework for the rest of the year, whispered Buster. Maybe he's canceling school for the rest of the year. Binky added, hopefully, I don't want to keep you in suspense about this, Mr. Rappan went on. It is our turn to put on a class play. Francine started to worry. She had never had good luck with school plays. Once she had been the cherry tree in a play about George Washington, and Buster had chopped her down. Another time, she had portrayed Sir Isaac Newton sitting under an apple tree. The apple tree was supposed to drop on her head and make her discover gravity. Instead, the apple, a bucket, a ladder, and Arthur had fallen down and landed on her. Does anyone have any ideas for the subject? Mr. Rappan asked. Keep in mind, we're doing a unit on inventors. So Ellen raised her hand. How about a spooky story about a mad scientist? There could be thunder and lightning and a huge monster. Everyone turned to listen. Who gets his arms pulled up? Binky jumped up, clapping. Count me in, he exclaimed. And I want to do the pulling. Settle down, Binky, Mr. Rappan cautioned him. Imaginative, Sir Ellen, but a few too many special effects for us, I'm afraid. Anyone else? Yes, Ellen. Let's take a journey through space. We could build a giant spaceship, and I could manufacture the simulated rocket fuel. Mr. Rappan nodded. I'm sure you could, but we might not have enough time to explore the galaxy. Fawn raised her hand. Did you have something in mind, Mr. Rappan? She asked. Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I did. He paused. What about the story of the great inventor, Thomas Edison? Did he invent anything that could fall on me? Asked Francine. No, Mr. Rappan assured her. You'd be perfectly safe. Can anyone name his invention? Murphy raised her hand. The Dewey Decimal System, she guessed. No, Murphy, Mr. Dewey did that. But Edison has received the credit for inventing more things than anyone else in American history. Did he invent any sport? Asked Binky. I'm afraid not, said Mr. Apple. But many of his inventions had great impact on everyday life. For example, he came up with the phonograph. Students looked at him blankly. The record player, Mr. Rappan continued. It was before CDs. It played music with a needle. Ouch, said Murphy, who couldn't think of needles without thinking of shots. You're kidding, right? Said Binky. No, I'm not. Edison also invented the light bulb and the motion picture camera. What about the computer? Asked Buster. Oh, video game. No. Edison invented a bit before that. Lived a bit before that. Apparently, you could all benefit from exposure to a little more history. I think this play will be very educational for everyone, and it'll also be a special opportunity for you to perform in front of a large audience. Francine swallowed nervously. She had a bad feeling about this. If only Edison had invented the first aid kit, she would have felt much better. Chapter 2. Inside the school auditorium, Mr. Rappan stood on the stage with a clipboard. He was getting ready to start the auditions. Arthur sneaked up behind him. Psst, Mr. Rappan. What is it, Arthur? I know you're about to assign the roles for the play. Could you please give Francine a good part? She has never had much luck in plays, and I know it would mean a lot to her. I'll certainly consider that, Arthur. Thank you. As Arthur walked away, Murphy took his place. You must be feeling a lot of pressure, Mr. Rappan. Why is that? Well, trying to match up the right actors with the right roles is hard work, and you don't even have any assistants to carry around those bottles of water for you. Life in the theater is often a challenge, Mr. Rappan admitted. I'm just doing the best I can. Murphy nodded. That's what I want to talk to you about. I think your job would be much easier if you could get one of the major parts settled. That's why I want to recommend Francine for something big. I bet she'll be really good If she didn't get it in the head with, people or scenery or anything, I'll keep that in mind. She darted away as Buster came up. It's a rap on, he began. The teacher held up a hand. Before you say anything, Buster, let me guess. You realize what a big responsibility it is for me to be in charge of this play, yes. And you like to make things easier for me. Yes again. So you wish to point out what a fine actress Francine is and how well suited should be to a major role. Well, that's true. Excellent. Consider it done. Consider it said. You may go now. Buster walked back to Arthur. He's just so smart. It's scary. The kids were lined up on stage at the end of the audition. Pinky was finishing up. I was the wall in Humpty Dumpty, remember? He explained. Oh, and I was Plymouth Rock on Thanksgiving. He stuck out his arms and clenched his fist. I hope there's a wall in this play too, because I'm real steady. Mr. Rappon stepped forward. Thank you, Pinky. He called for the others to gather around. All of your additions were excellent, and it's time to make my selection. First, Buster. Buster jumped forward. Since you have so much energy, you'll be the first light bulb. Arthur, you'll be the first phonograph. And Binky, you'll be a locomotive. Wow, said Binky. I didn't know Edison invented locomotive. He didn't, but you were born to play the part. Binky raised his arms. Yes, Mr. Rappon handed out the other parts, leaving Francine standing alone. And for the pivotal role of Thomas Edison, he concluded, I have chosen Francine. Me? Francine looked shocked. Her classmates cheered. All right, congratulations, way to go. Francine still looked stunned. I'm the star? She stepped out in front of everyone. I'm not prepared to give a speech, everybody clapped, but I want you to know I won't let the class down. I'm going to give 110% to this part. You have my promise. Chapter 3. Francine went to the town library right after school. She ran up to the librarian, Miss Turner, was looking over some new books. Good afternoon, Miss Turner. Hello, Francine. What can I do for you? A good mystery, action adventure, historical fiction. Francine shook her head. Not today. Actually, I'm here on official business. You may have heard that I was given the lead in my class play. No, I'm afraid that news hadn't reached us yet. Well, it is true. It's a play about Thomas Edison, and I'm playing his part. It's the role of a lifetime. I've read everything in the school library already, but I need to find out more. Can you point me toward the Thomas Edison room? Mr. Turner frowned. Francine, I don't believe we have a Thomas Edison room. Oh, Francine looked surprised. Okay, then what is the Thomas Edison section? You need to check the biographies. Naturally, you will find Mr. Edison on the E. Oh, Francine looked shocked. Miss Turner, are you saying he's just mixed in with all the other people? That's right, said Miss Turner. He doesn't have his own section. You'll find him somewhere between Amelia Earhart and Albert Einstein. Francine did not look happy. Miss Turner, I'm not sure the library is showing Mr. Edison the proper respect. Oh, what do you mean? Well, he is the greatest inventor our country has ever had. He came up with the electric light and all the wiring and switches to install it in cities, and the phonograph and the movie camera. If you took all of the things his inventions led to away from this library, it would be a very different place. I'm sure that is true, said Miss Turner. Exactly, said Francine. A person like that should at least have his own section. Francine insisted, maybe a statue somewhere up front. Miss Turner smiled. Francine, I'll share your enthusiasm with the library trustees at the next meeting. Meanwhile, you and Mr. Edison will have to be satisfied with his current location. A short while later, Francine left the library, balancing a huge pile of books on her bike. She passed Arthur and Buster, heading the other way. Hey, Francine, said Buster, we're going to the Sugar Bowl. Do you want to come? Francine shook her head. I have no time for candy and childish small talk. Buster looked surprised. No time for candy? Are you sick? I'm fine, Buster. I'm just busy. I'd be busy too if I had all those books, said Arthur. What's going on? This is everything the library had on Thomas Edison, Francine explained. I hope it'll be enough. Enough for what? Asked Buster. Enough for me to find out what really made Edison tick. I can't just memorize a few lines and read them on stage. I have to know about Edison from top to bottom, from the inside out. I need motivation. Wow, Buster looked impressed. But won't that be a lot of extra work? The true decoration is not bound by the hands of time, the Francine declared. Who said that? Asked Arthur. I did, said Francine. And she continued on her way. Chapter 4. Francine was sprawled across a bed. Scattered around the wall several open books, whom she read aloud. Edison lived from 1847 to 1931. He was born in Ohio, the youngest of 7 children. Francie looked up, and I think I have problems with just one older sister. She continued. His first laboratory was in the basement of his house, which was the only place his mother would let him make such a big mess. Francine looked around her room. She wondered if it would qualify as a laboratory too. Maybe someday a biographer would write about her messes. Francine, dinner, her mother called out. Coming, she said. As she sat down at the table, she noticed her father putting salt on his food. Did you taste that first? She asked him. Her father paused. No, I guess I didn't. Uh-huh, said Francine. Edison once turned down someone applying for a job because he salted his food without tasting it first. Edison thought it showed that the man jumped to conclusion. Her father put down the salt shaker. I'll keep that in mind the next time I'm looking for work. Francine turned to her mother. Did you know Edison stopped going to school when he was 10? His mother taught him at home. Don't get any ideas, said her mother. That's not all, Francine went on. As a young man, he was one of the fastest telegraph operators in the whole United States. Boring, muttered her sister Catherine. A lot, you know, Francine said. Francine said her father, I'm glad you're so excited about being in this play. Do you think it'll be hard to memorize your part? Nope. By the time I'm done, I'll be Thomas Edison. From the top of my head to the tips of my toes. After dinner, Francine stood in the living room, flicking the light on and off. Francine, stop that, said Catherine, who was lying on the couch. Stop what? The flicking. I'm trying to read my Shakespeare homework. Francine laughed. Shakespeare? You want me to stop for him? You can't even mention Shakespeare in the same sentence with my guy. How many inventions did Shakespeare come up with? None. Edison patented 1,093 inventions during his lifetime. Francine, Shakespeare was a writer. In England, Francine shrugged. Don't make excuses for him. He would have invented things if he had had the talent. Catherine rolled her eyes. Anyway, Francine said, if I'm going to play Edison convincingly, I need to really experience the full power of his invention. She kept flicking the light on and off. Didn't Edison invent anything else? Francine stopped flicking for a moment. Of course, there was the phonograph, the kinestoscope, storage battery, and the electric pen. Maybe you should try experiencing an electric pen for a while. After all, you want to give all the inventions equal time. Francine Breton, good idea. I will, as soon as I finish here. Catherine sighed as the lights continued to go on and off. Chapter 5. On Saturday morning, Francine headed downtown to do further research. She passed Binky on the way. He was carrying his baseball glove. Hey, Francine, we're playing a game in a few minutes. Wanna come? Sorry, I can't.
But I'm surprised at you, Pinky. Be why? What did I do? You're going to be a train in the play, right? Uh-huh. Francine frowned. Don't you need to practice? Practice being a train? Now, Pinky frowned. I don't think so. I'm already comfortable in the part. Choo-choo, choo-choo. See? Francine folded her arms. Well, you better not mess up. That's all I can say. And without waiting for him to answer, she turned sharply and continued into town. Francine's first stop was the local antique store, where the manager showed her an old phonograph. The first phonographs recorded sounds on tinfoil, he told her. Later they made grooves on wax cylinders. When the phonograph needle played over the grooves, they reproduced a sound. I see, said Francine. I read that Edison's first recording was of Mary Had the Little Lamb. Could be, said the manager, but we don't have a copy. At the camera shop, the owner explained how cameras work. The camera operates at 24 frames per second, she explained. So when the movie is running, you actually want a lot of individual pictures in a very short time. At that speed, though, your eye can tell the pictures apart. They all seem to run together, creating the impression of motion. Aha, said Francine. Did you know that former Edison cameraman made one of the first silent films in 1903? It was called The Great Train Robbery. Really? That's very interesting. Inside the hardware store, Francine examined a number of different light bulbs. Of all Edison's inventions, she thought this one might have changed the least since his own time. Hey, Francine, cried Muffy, running up the aisle with Prunella. Didn't you hear us? We were calling to you from outside. Do you want to go to the mall? Asked Prunella. All the stores are having big sales. Sales? Said Francine. She held up a 100-watt bulb. Did you know that Edison experimented with hundreds of things before he found the right material for his incandescent lamp, which later became the light bulb? That's nice, said Murphy, but we are in a hurry. We want to get there before the good stuff is gone. Are you coming? I can. I'm not done here yet. But you're welcome to stay and study the filaments with me. Francine snapped out of it. Said Muffy, we're talking about the mall. Help the bike. Clothes to try on and fun. Francine frowned. Hey, don't knock light bulbs. Without them, you'd have to shop in the dark. She took a closer look at Muffy's clothes. Oh, sorry, I guess you already do, Muffy gasped and ran out in tears. That was pretty mean, said Prunella. The Francine folded her arms. She insulted the light bulbs first. Now, if you don't mind, you're keeping me from my work. She went back to studying the light bulbs as Prunella stormed out. The end.